You don't get to rule me. You don't get to violate my rights.
I know I'm supposed to feel sorry for Alex Pretti, but I don't. I don't. Do you know why I wasn't shot by Border Patrol this weekend? Because I kept my ass inside and out of their operations.
Well, Megyn Kelly has no qualms about VA ICU nurse Alex Pretti getting shot and killed by Border Patrol agents in Minnesota as he stood there and held a cell phone to record them. He had it coming because he existed on public property and was filming federal agents, which he had the right to do, of course. Cenk, your 2 cents?
Yeah, first, congrats, Megyn. You didn't do anything. Are you proud? Okay, I like Americans who fight for their rights. And so I think Alex Pretti is an American hero. I think the exact opposite of Megyn Kelly in this instance. So we'll give you all that she said and the facts, and then I'll weigh in on it.
So before I get to this, I just want, look, most people watching this aren't necessarily gonna understand it from their own lived experience. But the way that I see this is, we are very privileged as individuals who have a platform where we get to express how we feel or what we think about anything happening in the country at any given moment. People like Alex Pretti, people who have been demonstrating on the streets, they don't necessarily have these types of platforms or these types of avenues to express their frustration, their anger, how they're feeling about their own government. So, like, it's very easy to say, well, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't show up to a protest. But yeah, you get to express yourself on a massive platform that you've built for yourself, right? So I just think the argument overall is weird, and wrong. But let me just give you the examples of what she had to say, give you more context, and you can decide for yourself. So not only did Megyn Kelly congratulate herself for exercising her speech rights from the comfort of her own studio, she then proceeded to misrepresent Alex Pretti's conduct. And this is where I get upset, right? Because it's one thing to say, I wouldn't do what Alex Pretti did. Okay, fine, whatever. It's another thing to totally misrepresent what he did do. So let's watch.
If I felt strongly enough about something the government was doing that I would go out and protest, I would do it peacefully on the sidewalk without interfering, via a whistle, via shouting, via my body, via any other way. I would make my objections known by standing there without interfering, because interfering is where you go south. And laying hands on a police officer trying to, or Border Patrol officer or ICE officer trying to conduct a law enforcement operation is a felony. And now you are gonna get arrested. And if you do anything that resembles resisting, you're in serious trouble.
But he didn't get arrested, he was executed. And on top of that, what ICE operation was he impeding? But in all honesty, what ICE operation was he impeding by standing there with his phone? And secondly, if you're gonna argue with me that he was impeding an ICE operation after he moved to help the woman who was pushed to the ground by the Border Patrol agents, I mean, I'm gonna throw the question back at Megyn Kelly. So did he deserve to be executed because he tried to help a woman who, for no reason, no apparent reason at least, Border Patrol decided to shove her onto the ground? I don't know, I'm curious.
Yeah, so let me build on those. Why do these Border Patrol guys even care about the protesters? Like, aren't they supposed to be busy detaining an undocumented immigrant or something? Why do they constantly turn around and attack the protesters? Who cares? They're not in. Remember, guys, Pretti and the women were very far away from the Border Patrol guys. The Border Patrol guys came up to them.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so I say stay 10 to 20 feet away from law enforcement. I've been saying that, since these shootings started happening. And I think that's a good policy. But you know what? Pretti was 10 to 20 feet away from the law enforcement guys. The only time that he came into to being closer to them is number one, when they came towards the protesters, and then they pushed a woman down and pepper sprayed her, or bear sprayed her. And then Pretti couldn't help himself because he's so courageous. He didn't go to attack the law enforcement guys. He went to go help the woman who was on the ground.
He placed his body between the Border Patrol agents and the woman in an effort to help her, right? So what let me just ask, like, was it an official Border Patrol operation to push a female demonstrator onto the ground, into the snow? Yeah. Is that what? Oh, I'm so sorry that Alex Pretti impeded Border Patrol as they were physically assaulting a demonstrator who happened to be on the scene. Okay.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's like a ridiculous argument.
And I'm old enough to remember when the right wing believed in chivalry and honor and didn't think that it was cool or tough to assault women when you're armed and they're not, and to throw them down viciously. And then when a man actually tries to help that woman, all he was doing was trying to get her up, right? And that was a courageous thing to do. That was a manly thing to do. Now is the right wing position, no, if a woman's being assaulted, let her deal with her own problems. I don't want a felony or I don't want anything like that. I'm gonna run away. That's the manly position? I just want to be clear, is that the right wing position, right? No, I thought he was plenty away from them. He helped when he saw that someone needed help. He takes care of veterans for a living, so he knows when somebody needs help. I just think he was incredibly brave. And then he did, and I've got to correct this. She said he laid hands on them. There's
no evidence of him ever laying hands. It makes me wonder if she watched the video, because it seems like she's just regurgitating White House talking points from before the White House backed off of, lying about the incident because they realized, okay, people are on to us and they're furious that we're lying. But let's go to one more video featuring Megyn Kelly, because in this next one, she went even further and dragged George Floyd while doing it.
These are organized agitators who train to disrupt and in some cases hurt law enforcement. They go out there looking for confrontations that they can make go viral on their social media, or that they can use as propaganda to turn people against the good guys, the ones who are trying to rid us of the scourge of child molesting illegals. Even if I, Megyn Kelly, went to interrupt law enforcement conducting lawful arrests and law enforcement operations with a loaded gun, it tucked into the back of my pants, and then I engaged in a physical confrontation with them, where I'm shoving and they're shoving, I'd be in grave danger.
Where was he shoving? And he had a legal weapon, which he had a permit for concealed carry, and it was in a holster. And he didn't approach the Border Patrol agents. He didn't shove anyone. The only physical thing he did was place himself between the Border Patrol agents who had just shoved this woman. And I don't know if the woman was with him or not, right? But the woman was right there next to him. Again, the only thing he did, physically speaking, was get in between the Border Patrol agent and the woman that they had just knocked to the ground.
And I don't even think, you're phrasing it that way, and that is technically true, but I don't think his intent was to get in between them. He was trying to help her. He was just trying to help her get up.
Yes,
he was just trying to get her up.
That's exactly right.
Because they slammed her to the ground. Look, guys, again, another Rorschach test. For some on the right, they're looking at this like Pretti was a wild, out of control guy that bum rushed 6 agents. But we all saw the tape that's not what happened. They bum rushed him and the women. Actually, first they attacked the women, then they attacked Pretti.
Yeah,
right?
The woman, yeah. And by the way, so there's a new angle, new video that came out that we're gonna show you, okay? So ABC News aired it. So in the beginning of this ABC News report, you're gonna see the newer footage, and then halfway through, you're gonna see the older footage, which we've shown you. Dropsite News was the first to obtain it. So I wanted to give you that context. But watch the video carefully and let me know, does Alex Pretti fit the description that you just heard from Megyn Kelly?
This new video shows protesters and observers on the scene 6 minutes before the fatal shooting of Alex Pretti. Those protesters and observers sounded whistles as federal officers assembled by a donut shop to begin an immigration enforcement action. You can see the officers prepare pepper spray in this video. Pretti arrived a few moments later and is seen holding a cell phone, seemingly to record the ICE operation. Shortly after he was shot and killed, Homeland Security investigation investigation said the FBI arrived to collect evidence, including Pretti's phone and the gun he had a legal permit to carry. Officials have not said what's on Pretti's phone or whether it could help determine whether the officers reasonably believe they were under threat. Customs and Border Protection officers involved in the deadly shooting were wearing body cameras. The agency says the footage is preserved, but it's unclear when or whether the public's going to see it.
So when I say he placed his body between the Border Patrol agent and the women, I mean, you see it in the tail end of that video, right? All he did was get him and go like this to protect her after she had been pushed to the ground by Border Patrol. So I want to know something, Megyn, like, do you have any questions about why Border Patrol felt the need to shove that woman to the ground? You just saw it for yourself, right? That it's in the video, it's very clear. What was the justification for that? Or are you going to provide cover for federal agents going around physically assaulting women like that, simply for existing in a public space?
Yeah, so I see what you're saying, Anna. Before he tries to get her up,
yeah,
he does get a little bit in between. I think the reason he raises his hand is to say, I'm not a threat.
Yeah, of course,
right?
Yes, yeah.
So like, and you see in the earlier video that we just showed you where before he got shot, the Border Patrol guy pushes him back to the sidewalk. Again, it's Border Patrol moving him. And what does he do? He complies. Every time he complies, except when the woman is pushed down and he's trying to protect that woman from getting further hurt. And by the way, you saw again, the agent there immediately pulls out the pepper spray and tries to spray his face, right? And then of course, then they tackle him to the ground and eventually kill him. So what, so you see that, come on guys. How do you not see that that's not what law enforcement should do? In fact, it goes to my next point. The folks who are defending ICE and Border Patrol here are saying, well, Pretti and the protesters have an obligation to not be anywhere near law enforcement. And here is a guy just putting his hands up with a video camera, etc. Couldn't be more benign, but they say, no, not good enough, right? How about law enforcement? Do they have any obligation not to viciously assault a woman and push her to the ground?
Oh no, I love my big government.
Yeah, do they have an obligation to not have 6 guys bum rush someone, take his gun away, shoot him 5 times, pause, and then shoot him another 5 times? Do they have that obligation? Don't they have that obligation to American citizens? Why does the obligation only go in one direction?
People forget, but let me remind you, they work for us.
Yes.
They work for us, okay? They're not our dictators, they're not our rulers. We're not supposed to have a tyrannical government. They work for us, okay? All these Americans who get their asses up every morning, okay, work their jobs, many of whom hate their jobs, but they work their jobs to make a living. Government takes a cut. And you know what happens with that cut? Big portion of it funds government agencies like DHS. Those bitches work for us, okay? So telling Americans that they don't have the right to do what the Constitution protects them to do is ridiculous. And using that as justification for a government official or a government agent in this case to just shoot and kill with impunity is ridiculous. That's where I stand on the issue. I stand in the issue of I pay you, then you work for me. Okay, you don't get to rule me. You don't get to violate my rights. It's that simple.
Yeah, one more thing about the videos we already showed, which is that Megyn said that they were child molesting illegals. No. First of all, the criminals were taken out right in the beginning of the administration. That was popular, and we're not talking about that anymore, right? But now when they're going after these mass deportations of people who didn't commit any crimes, they still keep calling them child molesting illegals as if they all did that, like 10, 12 million people, all are child molesting illegals. No, they do that to make you hate them. You don't have to hate them. You could want people removed. You could be in favor of mass deportations. I don't agree at all, but you could still be in favor of that and not think that they're all child molesters. That's made up. So the child molesters, everyone agrees, serve your sentence here because we should bring you to justice and then you get removed. No one disagrees with that. Don't let them trick you with that. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.